The Hundred Years' War, 1337 to 1453, had a profound impact on both England and France, reshaping the political, economic, and social landscapes of both nations. The war, which ended with French victory and the loss of English territories in France, except for Calais, led to significant changes in the post-war years for both countries. Post-war France, recovery and consolidation. 1. Restoration of French sovereignty. The end of the Hundred Years' War marked the restoration of French sovereignty over its territory. By 1453, France had regained nearly all of its lands previously lost to the English, including Normandy, Gascony, and Aquitaine, with the exception of Calais. The French monarchy, under Charles VII, emerged as the undisputed ruler of a unified kingdom. 2. Strengthening of the monarchy. The war had been a test of the French monarchy's power, and Charles VI's victory solidified his position. The French crown had become stronger, aided by a professional army and the use of artillery and gunpowder, which had been crucial in the later stages of the war. Charles VII took significant steps to centralize power, reducing the influence of the nobility and increasing the authority of the crown. 3. Economic recovery. The war had devastated France's economy, but by the 1460s, the country began to recover. Charles VII introduced reforms to improve taxation and promote economic stability. The agriculture and trade sectors began to recover, and the rebuilding of war-torn regions helped restore some semblance of prosperity. 4. Cultural Renaissance. The end of the war also coincided with the beginning of the French Renaissance. The stability provided by the strong monarchy allowed for a flowering of art, literature, and architecture, influenced by Italy and the broader European Renaissance. Post-war England, political turmoil and dynastic struggles. 1. Loss of French territories. The loss of France was a devastating blow to England. The loss of key territories like Normandy and Gascony weakened England's political and economic power. The English crown had relied heavily on its French possessions, both for revenue and prestige, and their loss caused significant economic strain. The port city of Calais was the last English foothold in France, but it too would be lost in 1558. 2. The War of the Roses, 1455 to 1487. The loss of France contributed to political instability in England, leading to the War of the Roses, a dynastic conflict between the Lancaster and York families for control of the English throne. The war, fueled by the weakening of the monarchy and the loss of prestige from the Hundred Years' War, lasted for 3 decades, causing widespread suffering and destabilizing England. 3. Economic struggles. The cost of the Hundred Years' War had drained England's treasury, and the English economy suffered from high taxes and the burden of war debts. The noble class, which had supported the war, found itself in economic difficulties, and the disruption of trade routes affected England's commercial and agricultural sectors. 4. Rise of the Tudor dynasty. The War of the Roses ended with the victory of Henry Tudor, who became Henry VII after defeating Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth Field in 1485. Henry VII established the Tudor dynasty, which brought stability to England after years of civil conflict. He sought to rebuild England's economy and strengthen the monarchy, focusing on securing peace and prosperity through diplomacy and economic reforms. 5. Military and naval reforms. The defeat in the Hundred Years' War also led to significant military reforms in England. Henry VII focused on building a strong navy to protect England from external threats and to expand its influence overseas. The English Navy would later play a crucial role in the country's dominance of the seas during the Elizabethan era. Conclusion: a new era for both nations. The end of the Hundred Years' War marked the beginning of a new chapter for both England and France. For France, the war's conclusion meant the restoration of national unity and sovereignty, leading to a period of growth and cultural flourishing. For England, the loss of its French territories and the internal strife of the War of the Roses created a challenging environment, but the eventual rise of the Tudor dynasty brought stability and set the stage for England's later transformation into a global power. While the war itself was a major turning point, The aftermath set both nations on distinct but transformative paths in the late medieval and early modern periods.